interactive on this one, so you are being broadcast this time around. And we're on now. All right. Okay. So congratulations to everybody. Welcome to the final round. And with us we have Burl, Norwin, and Penn Trafford. Looks great. We're expecting an exciting round here. All right. Same rules apply as last time, so there's really no difference in the way the round functions. Same number of questions, same number of toss-ups, same number of fanfare questions. So before we start, let's double check buzzers and make sure everybody has a working buzzer. We'll start with number 1. 10?
10.
And 12. Good. All right. So if you, I don't know that all the teams, I don't know, Penn Trafford, were you in this room for the earlier round for any? I didn't think so. There's a little bit of a different system in this room, so what we really ask you to do for certain is that you wait until you've been recognized by judges to respond. We have to basically coordinate the light that comes up here with the person who rang, so it takes a little longer. It's not like the other room where you can see the light right in front of you. Okay, so just bear with us as we identify you. Wait until you're identified before you give the answer. Okay. Any questions or anything anybody would like to add from the team before we start?
Good luck.
All right, definitely good luck to everybody. Okay, first round, again, 10 questions. And we begin with world history. Right. The Belgian town of Liège marks this holiday every year along with the people of France, where the celebration in downtown Paris includes fireworks and a...
Norwin, number 6.
Let's do it.
That is correct. Question 2, literature. In this work's chapter 6, the main character attacks Black Burton after Burton attacks John Thornton. In chapter 3, titled The Dominant Primordial Beast, nearly 100 starving dogs attack the sled dog team, led by Perrault and Francois. The main character then kills his arch enemy, a dog named Spitz. Identify this Jack...
Burl, number 4.
Wait, time?
Incorrect.
Penn Trafford, number 10.
All the while.
Correct. Question 3, American history. Recent DNA tests show that his mistress, Nan Britton...
Norwin, number 7.
Thomas Jefferson.
Incorrect. Nan Britton was correct when she claimed that her daughter, Elizabeth Ann, was his. Other records show that she was just one of this chief executive's many affairs before he died in 1923 and was replaced by his vice president, Calvin...
Burl, number 3.
Holiday.
Correct, Warren G. Harding. Number 4, science. Pencils and paper for this one. Give the value of X if 1 mole of lead 4 hydroxide combines with sulfuric acid to create 1 mole of lead 4 sulfate and X moles of water.
Penn Trafford, number 9.
2.
Incorrect. And we're out of time. Correct answer was 4. X equals 4. Okay, potpourri. Question 5. Former Davis Cup winner Carlos Moya is a native of Spain, as are former U.S. Open champion Manuel Orantes, former French Open champion Juan Carlos Ferrero, and former Wimbledon champion Conchita Martinez. All of these athletes became famous in what?
Penn Trafford, number 10.
Tennis.
Tennis? Yes, correct. Question 6, world history. When the Bolivian government tried to increase taxes on a Chilean company, the Chilean army took over the town of Antofagasta, only to find that Bolivia had signed a mutual defense treaty with Peru. The result was what three-way
Norwin, number 6.
The Guano War.
Incorrect.
Burl, number 3.
War of the Pacific.
That is correct. We would have also accepted Saltpeter War. Question 7, literature. First and last name needed for this one. First and last name needed. The Great Ormond Street Hospital in London owns the copyright for both the 1904 stage play and the 1911 novel based on this male character who loses his shadow and who is typically played.
Burl, number 4.
Peter Pan.
Correct. Question 8, American history. Developed by William Howard Taft and his Secretary of State, Philander C. Knox, its premise was that America's foreign relations.
Burl, number 3.
Dollar.
That is correct. Question 9, science. Types of this object include Schottky, Zener, and tunnel. Built with near zero resistance in one direction and near infinite resistance in the other direction.
Burl, number 2.
Superconductors.
Incorrect.
Norwin, number 5.
Correct. Question 10, potpourri. Characters in the stories within this work include Calandrino, Lodovico,
Burl, number 3.
Dantes and Ferdinand.
Incorrect. Simona and Bergamino. This work's unifying theme is the telling of those stories.
Norwin, number 7.
The Arabian Nights.
Incorrect. Outside Florence, Italy, whose inhabitants are trying to avoid the Black Death. Name this medieval work consisting of 100 stories in 10 days told by 7 ladies and 3 young men that was created by Giovanni Boccaccio.
Answer?
The correct answer was Decameron. Okay, that ends the first round. Question.
Is it possible that we could look up the Guano War?
The Guano War?
Yeah, is it possible that we could check that into? Yeah, I believe it's another question.
The question was, when the Bolivian government tried to increase taxes on the Chilean companies, the Chilean army took over the town of Antofagasta, only to find that Bolivia had signed a mutual defense treaty with Peru. The result was what three-way conflict that ended in 1883 with the Treaty of Ancón that took away Bolivian access to the conflict's namesake ocean. Is that the question you were in question?
The two answers that were given are the War of the Pacific or Saltpeter War. Those are the answers that we have.
I was pretty sure Guano was another name for Saltpeter and was also
The answers the judges are final.
Yeah, that's
So,
the
yeah.
answer we have.
The only 2 answers that we could accept would have been War of the Pacific and Saltpeter War.
We will
That's how they're
research it for you.
Okay. Fanfare 1, go to Penn Trafford. Okay. 6 questions, 60 seconds. The time will start after I finish the first question. Okay? Penn Trafford, you ready? Contemporary events. What current Broadway show's cast member, Brandon Victor Dixon, felt the need to lecture audience member Mike Pence after one performance?
Hamilton.
Hamilton is correct. World history. In the middle of the Potsdam Conference in 1945, Winston Churchill was voted out of office in England and replaced at the conference by what new prime minister?
Pass.
Literature. Through a series of strokes, she became paralyzed on one side of her body, but only after writing her 2 most famous novels. Name this 20th century Southern author who wrote the Ballad of the Sad Cafe.
Connor.
Incorrect. American history. Former President Rutherford B. Hayes played a role in deciding a South American dispute in favor of what country, which caused that country to name a city and a province after him?
Honduras.
Incorrect. Science. You can see sunspots on what layer of the sun that contains granules is separated from the core by the radiation and convection zones, and from which the sun's light is radiated.
Corona.
Incorrect. Potpourri. Give the term defined by American Psychological Association.
Time's up.
We finished the question
Finish the question.
No, it was up before you.
before I started?
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Okay. All right, so the answers that we missed here, we were looking
Okay,
for.
just right here, start with
You
literature.
passed on world history, the Clement Attlee.
Yep.
Carson McMullers was the Ballad of the Sad Cafe. Paraguay was a South American dispute in favor of what country?
In
Science photosphere is what we were looking for there. Okay. All right, on to Norway. Okay, again, 6 questions, 60 seconds.
You
Here we go.
guys.
Contemporary events. Sebastian and Mia are the 2 main characters in what recent movie musical set in Los Angeles?
La La Land.
Correct. World history. At the Potsdam Conference, the Allies agreed to divide Germany into how many zones? 1 for each of the major allies.
4.
Correct. Literature. Which Carson McMullers novel tells of John and Spiros, 2 deaf men who lived together in Georgia in the 1930s?
Pass.
American history. Rutherford B. Hayes was elected to the U.S. House from what state while fighting in the Civil War?
Ohio.
Correct. Science. Different colors and solar flares come from which layer of the sun?
Corona.
Incorrect. Potpourri. Give the term defined by the American Psychological Association as false perceptions that occur in the absence of objective stimulation.
Oh, yeah.
Hallucination.
Correct. All right. The ones you missed were the literature question, Heart is a Lonely Hunter was the name of this title. Chromosphere was the layer of the sun. Fanfare 3, Squirrel. You ready? Okay. Question 1, contemporary events. What classic Broadway musical about a Jewish family in Russia got a Tony nomination for Best Revival in 2016?
Fiddler on the Roof.
Correct. World history. The zone of Germany controlled by the Soviet Union eventually became what separate country until 19... Correct. Literature. Which Carson McCullers novel tells of Frankie's reaction to the marriage of her brother Jarvis to Janice Evans? 4. American history. The beginning of Rutherford B. Hayes' time as president marked the end of what post-Civil War era?
Reconstruction.
Correct. Science. Which outermost layer of the sun can be seen during an eclipse as a white crown around the sun?
Corona.
Correct. Potpourri. Give the term defined by the American Psychological Association as false or irrational beliefs maintained despite clear evidence to the contrary.
Delusion.
Correct. All right. And missing the answer on the literature question was member of the wedding.
With the people viewing it, they'd be able to see the score. Do you want to announce the score going into that?
Okay, we can announce
The
it.
people
Yeah.
viewing.
Just for those of you viewing, end of round 1. Our current score is Burrell 45, Norwin 30, and Pentrafford 15. Just a little halftime info there. Okay, ready for round 2. Everybody's back in. Okay, here we go. 10 questions. World history. It was preceded by the Paleolithic period, when nomadic tribes crisscrossed the land instead of settling down.
Burl, number 4.
Neolithic period.
Judges?
Say it.
Neolithic period.
Yes, that's correct.
Literature.
I see.
The preface of the story featuring this explorer has a letter to his cousin saying, "Some corruptions of my Yahoo nature have revived in me by conversing with a few of your species. Name this."
Norwin, number 7.
Gulliver.
Gulliver is correct. American history. The first one in the mid-1700s targeted Protestants.
Norwin, number 7.
The Great Awakening.
Correct. Science. Its general types
You
include
reset the buzzer.
sulfonamides, fluoroquinolones, cephalosporins, and tetracyclines. It's important to take all of this type of medication.
Burl, number 3.
Antibiotics.
Correct. Potpourri. In 2016, this city closed its 140-year-old zoo and turned it into an eco park.
Burl, number 3.
Berlin.
Incorrect. Several years after the zoo's polar bears died because of its summer heat that arrives in December and January. Name this capital where the zoo had been part of the 3rd of February park that includes a statue of native writer Jorge Luis Borges and is the largest city in Argentina.
Norwin, number 6.
Buenos Aires.
Correct. World history. Several countries in Western Europe had colonies in this area of West Africa until those colonies were either purchased or taken over by England in the mid-1800s. Give the two-word name for this land area on the Gulf of Guinea.
Burl, number 3.
Gold Coast.
Correct. Question 7, literature. He puts dirt on his hands and then rubs his hands on his shirt. Then, as the winning run, he stands in the batter's box.
Norwin, number 7.
Casey.
Correct. Casey at the bat. Question 8, American history. The Scott Odell novel, Thunder Rolling in the Mountains, is narrated by the daughter of this Indian chief, whose father felt betrayed by Americans who kept taking his tribe's land in the Pacific Northwest. Name this leader of the Nez.
Burl, number 3.
Chief Joseph.
Correct. Chief Joseph. Science. Question 9. Its particles are all between 1 and 1,000 nanometers in some dimension. Its examples include an emulsion combining two liquids, or a foam where gas particles are.
Burl, number 1.
Correct. Question 10, potpourri. A court ruled in 2016 that it can't be sold in Sweden because it looks too much like the Marabou brand of chocolate candy already sold in Sweden that has a small M printed on.
Burl, number 3.
M&M's.
Correct. And that's the end of that round. The fanfare. Okay, Penn Trafford, you're up. Contemporary events. If Reynolds American is bought by a British company, the result would be the world's largest firm selling what addictive product?
Tobacco.
Correct. World history. Give the year when the Magna Carta was signed.
Pass.
Literature. Which British Cavalier poet also wrote the plays Volpone and The Alchemist?
Keats.
Incorrect. American history. Which state was governed by John Tyler in 1825 and 1826?
Ohio.
Incorrect. Science. It gets its name because it was first isolated from the droppings of seabirds. Name this DNA base.
Guanine.
Correct. Potpourri. What math term means to make the rows of a matrix into columns and vice versa?
Pass.
Correct answer there was transpose. Let's see, what else did we mix? Magna Carta was signed in 1215. Ben Jonson was the poet. Virginia was the state governed by John Tyler. Right. On to Norwin. Okay, question number 1. Contemporary events. Who held on to his World Chess Championship in 2016 by winning 2 rapid chess games in a row over challenger Sergei Karyakin?
Fisher.
Incorrect. World history. Give the year when England's Queen Elizabeth I defeated the Spanish Armada.
1544.
Incorrect. Literature. Which British Cavalier poet gave us the words, "Gather ye rosebuds while ye may, old time is still a-flying, and this same flower that smiles today, tomorrow will be dying"?
Byron.
Incorrect. American history. Which state was governed by James K. Polk from 1839 to 1841?
Tennessee.
Correct. Science. In DNA, guanine is always paired with which base?
Cytosine.
Correct. Potpourri. Which type of math equation expresses x and y in terms of t?
Parametric.
Correct. All right. And we missed the first one. Was the chess player was Magnus Carlsen. 1588 was the year of Queen Elizabeth defeated the Spanish Armada, and Robert Herrick was the poet we were looking for in question 3. Okay. And our final fanfare goes to Burl. Question 1, contemporary events. Name the company whose Super Hornet jet was proposed by Donald Trump as a potential replacement for Lockheed's troubled F-35 airplanes.
Boeing.
Boeing is correct. World history. Give the year of Napoleon's famous defeat at Waterloo.
1812.
Incorrect. Literature. British Cavalier poet Richard Lovelace wrote a poem called To Althea from what undesirable location? That contains the... What was your answer?
Hell.
Hell is incorrect. American history. Which state was governed by Grover Cleveland in 1883 and 1884?
Ohio.
Incorrect. Science. In DNA, guanine has a double ring structure and is thus one of these compounds, not a pyrimidine.
Purine.
Purine is correct. Potpourri. Give the adjective for a logarithm whose base is e.
Natural.
Natural is correct. And that ends the game. Congratulations to Burl. All right. Great job, guys. Great job to everybody. Thank you very much. And thank you to everybody who was here today. Appreciate it.
We're gonna get pictures?
Yeah, we'll get pictures here and awards in a second.
All right, so don't leave. Gotta wait for a picture with your award.
Congrats, guys.
Did you find an answer to that?
I see the reason for his confusion.
Yeah.
You want to go over
Will you
it?
share with us?
Yeah, I will. I have a few. We'll get you to answer your questions.
Yes.
I did confirm that one he had happened to run before. I should have said no.
Which one was that?
Neolithic, it's not, it wouldn't have made a difference in the
No.
score, they still would have won.
No, but
It was a Neolithic revolution, I just said error.
yeah.
And the reason
I
I
was-
didn't ask for more is because in these questions, it
Yeah.
always says prompt for.
Yes.
If you're
Yes.
to do that, so.
But I thought it came out of the number 3, who's very hard to understand. So I thought I was trying to hear the first part, not the second part. But regardless, if we say yes, that's
Yeah.
the end.
Yep.
And like for him, if we say no, no matter if it's right or wrong, we say
It is what
no.
it is.
He can't change it anyway once we say no.
All right. Oh wait, Pin Trapper, go back, guys. Go back. You have to get your award and get a picture with your, yeah, okay?
Okay, what do you want to take from us?
To tell you the truth, I think probably the board would be best.
You think?
No, not that. That's not a video, that's no.
Guys, so if you're standing either side of your painted sign in our hallway, that's where we're actually gonna take your pictures. We'll go third, second, first. So Penn Trapper, come with us, please.
So,
Yeah, yeah, this way, yeah.
Nice job, guys. Congratulations, Mr. Fine. Thank you.
Not happy, huh?
I mean, if we thought it was just because friendly, we regional restaurant, we always kind of want that was.
What happened to losing me?
It's on last year we were not.
What's that?
I've been having a good week with my kids.
Oh, I don't tell they were really disappointed in themselves.
I don't think.
Yeah. The two in the middle.
Well, the twins,
Oh, they're brothers and brothers. Oh, for God's sake.
And I knew that was such a deep stuff, you know,
Ah.
like, it's like, you don't know what they're saying, but you're like, whatever it was, it couldn't have been good.
Well, that one really got mad at each other.
They're always arguing, always, and they,